Oh yeah. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Oh shit, it's really good night for us. Late one. This is cover for the guys. We got all the guys here. I got Terrance, Ant, Nick. How you doing today, Ant?
Yo, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. How y'all doing?
Living. No problems on this side. How you doing, Nick?
Doing great, man. Ready for another great week. Had a lot of exciting stuff. Tons of news today.
Yeah, for sure. What about you, Terrance? Daddy duty over the weekend?
Man, feeling good, man. A lot of interesting things to get into tonight.
Yeah, so he had my godson dressed up as Batman. That was the dopest shit I'd have never seen. It was super cute. He had my nephew who never likes to brush his hair, rocking his outfit. She ain't gonna ever brush his hair. It's the funniest thing I'd have never seen.
Brush his hair. He got curly hair though. He got curly hair.
No, yeah, he got curly hair.
So
but he would have the Klay Thompson waves if he let you brush his hair. He ain't gonna do it though. He ain't gonna do it.
I ain't gonna lie. He brushes his hair and he do be having the waves on the top.
Exactly. So yeah, that shit's crazy.
With the butters.
Yeah. I gotta give a big shout out to our man Steve over on the Ball Hawks podcast. His wife had him dressed up. She's a professional makeup artist, I think he was saying. He does it every year. She dressed him up as Aladdin, bro. If y'all ain't see it, go look on our Twitter. We got it. Man, it looks amazing, bro. It's pretty crazy that his wife was able to do that. So I don't know if you're ever out that way and you want to get some makeup done or something, I would definitely holler at her. So, but we had a lot of interesting things happen in the news lately. We were expecting some big trades, didn't get none of that shit. So, another boring trade. Yeah, another boring trade deadline got us goes. We also had a little incident that just happened today. Ant is going to tell us about it involving Oakland Raiders receiver Henry Ruggs. What happened, Ant?
Yo, so Henry Ruggs Tuesday morning was in an accident. They're saying he was under the influence and he basically kind of T-boned a car that ended up lighting on fire. And like the other driver of the other vehicle is dead. And Henry Ruggs was arrested and under for DUI. Now, the interesting thing about this is if Henry Ruggs is convicted for a DUI, he is done. Like in Nevada, the DUI laws are really strict. And if someone gets heavily injured or dies, it is a Class B felony automatically. It is a non-probational offense automatically. And it's a minimum of 2 years, 2 to 20. So like Henry Ruggs, if he gets charged and convicted with this DUI, is not just like, oh, out of football, that man is probably like in jail for multiple years. Now, I'm looking for like every report that I've seen, and all the reports are saying that the officer said that he was visually impaired on scene. I'm not sure exactly what that means, but if he did not consent or take a breathalyzer and was not had his blood drawn when he went to the hospital, when he was treated for non-life-threatening injuries, then like there's a chance that he can fight it. But like if they got him without his
got him.
Yeah. Then it's gonna be real tough for Henry Ruggs. We might not be seeing him for a very long time.
Yeah, that's crazy when you hear about it. Sorry, condolences to the families involved. Definitely the family of the victim. Ain't no excuse for drinking and driving, bro. I be telling the guys that all the time. There's Uber, Lyft, taxis, call a friend. In some states, you can be drunk in your car as long as the keys aren't somewhere you can grab them. You can take a nap in your car. Like there ain't no excuse for drinking and driving. That's how I stand on it. I know the guys feel the same way. There's just no excuse for it. There's a million other
even
things.
those guys have entourages too. Like you telling me you don't have nobody in your circle that's like telling you like, no, this is a dumb idea for you to be driving, especially a Corvette C8 that goes a lot of very powerful car.
600 horsepower, yo.
Crazy. 600 horsepower Jeep, probably $170 too. That shit's crazy. But moving on, we have some other interesting news in Atlanta. This is actually really dope. I think it's a big deal. Calvin Ridley said he needed some time to step away from the game, much like how Lane Johnson said a couple weeks ago. I think it's big for mental health, especially with men, because they don't really get it checked out or feel the need to address it. I think it's big, and the Atlanta Falcons, they value him as a player, to respect his decision and everything. If your job, that's how I feel, if your job doesn't value you enough to let you get some time off like that or have a leave of absence, you probably need to go look for another job. That's straight up. That's how I feel. What you think, Nick? That's your man's look too.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I agree. I don't know why mental illness gets a rap, but like if someone's sick and takes a day off or takes time off of work for being sick under the normal terms, no one questions it. Well, mental health is also being that. So if he's got issues he needs to work out, by all means. I will say though, I've overwhelmingly it's been a lot of support from the NFL, which is definitely good to see. But any of these toxic fans who are calling him a crybaby or like, oh, you make millions of dollars, just suck it up and play. Like, honestly, pound sand. I mean, there's worse things I'd like to say to you, but like at the end of the day, he's a human being and he deserves the right to get his brain right first before stepping out on a football field to play a kid's game at the end of the day.
Exactly. Marshawn Lynch said it best. My legit said, keep your chicken and take care of your mental. He said, take care of your chicken, take care of your mental. So you got to live by that. Honestly, I hope Calvin Ridley, his family, they wish him the best and he gets it going and comes back and likes to lead up because we know what he can do on the field. Definitely. So moving on to the news we had this week, moving forward with other news. Oh, we had a big news. We got a shirt made by Danielle Kovic. She made this. I don't know who that woman is, but she just makes shirts and she made this shirt for me. So, maybe we'll start.
Hey, don't get your ass.
I'm about to say, my man got a shirt made by his girl and he wants to act single. I got you, Dan.
Nah, shut up, bitch. That's my girl. She made me watch her. She came out looking inspired. She made me 2 shirts. She got the guys' shirts coming too. She's probably gonna have one for Ant coming soon. So they're pretty fire. But thanks. Big shout out to her. Thank you. Appreciate it. She looking at me. The Titans lose King Henry, possibly for the year due to a foot surgery. The interesting thing about this, though, he injured his foot during the game and finished the game to help them beat the Colts. Terrance, what do you think about that?
That man is just built different. Like, at the end of the day, like, he's built different. Like, we've been saying this already before this, but this just goes to show, like, the man he's a freight train with legs. And for me, honestly, I think he is the Titans of the whole organization right now. Like, the Titans go as he go. And right now, with him being out, I mean, I know they just signed Adrian Peterson, but I mean, if we were talking about AP from a couple of years ago, maybe about 6 years ago, okay, you got a nice solid pickup there. But we talking about AP, 36, 37-year-old Adrian Peterson. I'm not sure how that's going to go, but I mean, I think they would have been better off, potentially getting like a Marlon Mack. I know they're in division, but
Miles Sanders, if he didn't hit IR.
Miles Sanders potentially, or, Ronald Jones potentially. I mean, you've already swung for the fences with Julio Jones. Why not take another chance with potentially another running back who can fill the shoes of, I ain't going to say he's going to fill the shoes, but that could step into place in the between time and get the job done. But I think this really hurts the Titans a lot.
Interesting enough, though, they haven't ruled him out for the year because it says it's going to take 6 to 10 weeks. There's a possible chance he comes back. I mean, honestly, if he comes back, you got to figure he can come back around the end of the year, playoff time. I don't know if I would risk it. If it's something he's willing to do, maybe. But even still, how do you feel about that, Ant?
Look, so he injured himself during the game and he played through the game. And I think that everybody who watched that game saw that Derrick Henry was not Derrick Henry during that game. He was laboring and they kept him in there. And you don't really know how bad the injury was at first. And you don't know if they made it worse because they ran him 27, 30 times that game. He came out in the first with the injury.
Yeah, he did.
I don't like that because that is, as Terrance said, that is your whole team. That is your whole team's identity is Derrick Henry. We don't know now because, obviously, now we know that he has to get the surgery, but he's a big-ass dude. Foot surgery for big-ass dudes is not a game. They are heavy. They move with a lot of force. Even if his foot gets better, it's something that can easily be re-aggravated.
If you see this man workout videos, you would know he's insane. Nigga, how you
all
feel?
I'm gonna say is R.I.P. Ryan Tannehill this week facing Von Miller and Aaron Donald. Jesus Christ.
Nick, how you feel, Nick?
Yeah. So piggybacking off what Ant said, I think Ant hit it right on the head. I'm not the type to be like, you need to be all on somebody, but like, honestly, that's kind of terrible by Mike Vrabel and the organization to let him go back out there, because in one breath, I know that he is your entire team, but you need to look at it as this is our future, not just this season, but next season after. He's only 26 years old, 27 years old. So he's got a future, and we know what the lifespan of a running back has been all these years. It's not long. So if you want to keep King Henry for the future, I mean, you got to keep him healthy. The bigger thing is too, you got to protect the player from himself, because obviously I'm sure they had the conversation like, are you good to go? And he's that type of dude that be like, yeah, like he could have a torn ACL and be like, yeah, I'm ready to roll. And it's like, you got to protect the player from himself. I know it's a critical divisional game. You got to look at it from the perspective, your division's not very good to begin with. It's still winnable without Derrick Henry, even if you run through the gauntlet. And who knows how much worse the injury is now that he finished the game. So, at the point of when it happened in the first quarter, it could have been a 3 to 4 week injury. Now you're talking 6 to 10 weeks, potentially missing the year. So I don't like the fact that they treated him that way. That's your MVP, should have been an MVP. So mishandled, in my opinion.
Definitely. I would sit him for the rest of the year. I'm not playing him. Unless we were for sure going to make the Super Bowl, I'm not playing him, because it just doesn't make no sense. Like we said, the running backs that don't have longevity, he's been actually a unicorn in having longevity. Like somebody was talking about on ESPN, I forget who, but they were bringing it up how early on he didn't have a lot of carries. And in Alabama, he didn't have a lot of carries. He didn't get this big carry usage up until recently. Like, so that's why the thing was like, he was able to have these many carries because he wasn't getting injured. He didn't have these carries in college and going on into the NFL early on. And we know in high school,
his first couple years in the league, he was heavy fucking mid.
Well, he was running behind DeMarco Murray. That's what people forget.
Yeah, he was.
He wasn't a starter. Murray had just came off that great year with the boys. And then Tennessee had snagged him and was like, hey, we're going to take him.
But then after that, they did him and the other like split back. I think he was from New England.
Deion Lewis. Even like him, when they were trying to do him in the split back with Deion Lewis, he was kind of mid then too. It was like after they got rid of Deion Lewis, and like, I don't know. Oh, they changed offensive coordinators.
It was Arthur Smith, who's now our head coach. So once they got Arthur Smith, they figured out that the play action was the way to go, especially with Henry, and they got Tannehill. It was once they got Tannehill, Arthur Smith, and Derrick Henry was the only option. They were able to realize that their offensive line scheme was pretty good at shifting, and that's pretty much the way it went. And that's why we suck this year, because we think Mike Davis is Derrick Henry, and I would like to let the American people know Mike Davis is not Derrick Henry. For anyone that was confused.
Yeah, that really goes off of the just the scheme and having that coordinator coach to know what they bring to the table. But we're letting Mike Davis know, I think you're pretty good at running back, but you were not.
I think you'd be great at a lot of places, my dude. But unfortunately, and this is not your fault, but our scheme is not it.
Oh, yeah. So moving forward, the rich definitely got richer. I don't know how this happened. I don't know how anybody else did not acquire this man before the Rams decided to acquire Von Miller in a trade with the Broncos, exchange for 2 picks, a second and a third. And get this, the Broncos are going to pay $9 million of his cap that is due, leaving the Rams to pay point something. Like,
this is insane, bro.
When you think about it, it's crazy to me. I'm happy to see him leave and have the chance to chase another ring. People forget he was a Super Bowl MVP. He's the only reason Peyton got a damn another ring. If you think about it, it's wild to see this, and just I'm happy for him. I wish it was prime Vaughn that they would get. I don't know what Vaughn he's going to get. Maybe he rejuvenates his career. What do you think about it, Nick?
I'm going to start off. I'm actually glad that you came to me first. I'm going to start off by saying this. Obviously, we all agree that this is now potentially a ridiculous D-line to have to face. But I like to give credit where credit is due, and I want to pass it right over to Ant with a question. We talked about how top-heavy the defense is. What does this do for the depth at this point?
I think this is huge insofar as on the D-line, now there's 2 guys. And, like, let's not forget about Leonard Floyd, who's be at the line frequently and is no scrub, that, like, now you're in a situation where when you're all healthy, it's impossible to block because Von Miller is either going to get one-on-ones consistently if you still want to play Aaron Donald the same way, and Von Miller is still the guy that's going to beat the one-on-one. Von Miller is still a guy that consistently gets doubled when he plays. And I like that. So now, like, if Von Miller is out for a little bit or Aaron Donald's out for a little bit, I feel like your defense can still play the same way that they usually play, which is something that's really good for you. It also means that you can kind of, like, at some points in time when it's not third down, maybe one of them is on the field instead of both, and like kind of let them last the now 17-game season a little bit better. I like both of those things, but outside of that, they're still really top heavy though.
No, I mean,
added one more guy.
I think it gives them more room on the line to play with defensively. On the secondary, I don't know. It doesn't help them, but I don't think they're worried about that too much because they're really thinking like these guys are going to get to them. So it doesn't matter. Like, and honestly, I would bet on that too. Like, it doesn't matter because now you know how Aaron Donald, he was on the end now this year, and he's been, pushing out to the end. Now he can push wherever he wants because Vaughn can go slide and Leonard can slide. So it's like, oh, and the neat thing about it is, granted, they're pass rushers, Leonard Floyd and Vaughn, but they also drop back in coverage every now and then. So it's going to be weird that how they scheme into which one's going, which one's not. You know how the Ravens do crazy blitz screens? Like, what if the Rams start, all right, well, we're going to scheme this up a little bit better. So they know we're coming, but they don't know who we're going to come with.
All right, I'm going to throw a bold take out there for y'all. So for me, honestly, at this point for the Rams, it's Super Bowl or bust. Like, there's no way you make these two swings with Matthew Stafford and Von Miller, and now you're only left with, 4 draft picks in this next draft.
Figure up there 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6.
No early draft picks at all. Like, bro, and I mean, but granted, Von Miller, like you said, he is a guy who's going to definitely beat the one-on-one. He, at this point, amongst active players, he leads the league in sacks over the past years running. So I mean, they're getting a great, stud in Von Miller, who I feel like he more than likely will benefit from that presence of Aaron Donald, Leonard Floyd on the other side. So they're definitely going to get a lot of pass rush, a lot of good pass rush going from this defensive line. And I mean, maybe Jalen Ramsey locks up one side of the field and you can kind of, help out the other corner with a safety or whatever. And, see how that works for you.
They've been doing that to start with. I think it just puts more pressure with the line. So now it's scary because you ain't going to have that much time to eat apart that second corner like you would normally.
Exactly.
And then the other corner, I think it's Darius Williams. He's not a scrub. He's just not having a good year. So now you're like, well, who do we really pick on? Like maybe
they can be more aggressive now though.
Yeah, you got to have a real good tight end to pick on them, I feel like. And if you ain't got a real good tight end, then you probably won't pick on them like you think. They had some other news. They released my man Deshaun Jackson, which I don't know why he wouldn't just ride this out and get a ring. I know he's thinking like, I still got it. He might. I don't really think he still got it like how he thinks. Granted, Stafford be missing him on throws, and I'm not saying he don't got it. He got it, but I don't know how he think he got it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're going
to me at this point in his career, he's a situational player. He's too injury prone at this point.
Yeah, and he was lighting people up. You got to think like in that like. Granted, you haven't seen him much in the Rams offense because they got Vance Jefferson too. You haven't seen him much since that Tampa day. But the thing is, they usually how you get used. You're going to abuse people. You abuse the Tampa secondary, and that was before the Tampa secondary got bad. That was what, week 1 or week 2?
Yeah,
it was early. So you got. How you feel about that, Nick?
I mean, I'm glad to see that he got off the team because, there was flashes that we saw where he clearly still has it. Like he bailed out Matt Stafford a couple times. He's clearly still a deep threat. And we've already also said like, a Deshaun Jackson losing one step with his older age is still faster than 90% of players in the NFL. So I think that he can do a lot for a team that needs an extra piece. The ones that come to mind are someone like Green Bay could use them. Teams that are ready to win now that just need like a little extra help with all the injuries and stuff they've had at wide receiver. I think that'd be a good look. Honestly, the Falcons, not even just being a homer, but we need help at wide receiver, obviously with Calvin being out, the fact that everyone else is kind of underperforming.
Maybe
so the Saints, he's has a place in the NFL. He just has, I just hope that his mentality isn't that he thinks he can still be a 1 or even a 2, because he's definitely a third option on a team that's already got some solid pieces.
That's my thing with him right now. At this point, he has to know that, hey, I'm a situational player. Because I think I'm not sure if in his mind he still thinks he can be a dominant player at this point. He's just too injury prone. At the end of the day, I feel like he just has to be, in a sense, like a gadget player. Like get him in there for some explosive plays and, you know, kind of work him in there. Yeah, just you work him in there. You don't have him in there, you know, majority of the snaps.
I mean,
Exactly what he wants.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's not that many teams. I feel like his market ain't as big as like we really think. Like Green Bay, maybe, you know, if you want to add some more depth. I'm saying maybe in the aspect of like they have Marquise Valdes-Scantling, who's fast. Like they already have a burner, and he's bigger, and his hands are better. You know,
but he's been injured. He's been out all year.
He's coming back though, right?
Yeah,
he's about to come back, but he's been out all year. And Lazard is in Devontae Adams. So I'm saying just adding depth. They're a little too. The thing that I think Deshaun adds is another element. And yes, Terrance is right. He's, you know, definitely injury prone. But with the fact that they weren't able to get like an OBJ deal done, which I'm not saying he's anywhere near OBJ's atmosphere, but they clearly need more help, especially since they're losing another weapon in Tanyan. I mean, Rodgers has been balling out, but you need targets, and he can't just keep going to Devontae over and over and over again.
I just feel like, yeah, he would love to, honestly. You heard him. He'd love to get the ball to 17. I just feel like it's not a good fit because Deshaun Jackson is still Deshaun Jackson. He will drop a ball or two. Like, you know, he don't got the surest hands. Just with Marquise Valdes-Scantling there, I feel like it doesn't work. Maybe on the Chargers with him and Guyton. Guyton's a young receiver that's fast, but maybe him and Guyton could be a duo over there to add them some more receiver depth because they really just got the two twin towers that could be tight ends at receiver. Like they got, bro, Mike Williams is what, 6'5", 6'4"? Keenan Allen 6'3", like and runs great routes. It's crazy when you look at it. We got another thing coming for the segment. The Patriots seem to be catching fire ahead of steam. Terrance, I'm gonna let you get this out your system because I know none of us really care about the Patriots, but what's up?
Crazy trying to do me like this right now. But anyways.
Hold on, special shout out to Matt Judon. Since we traded him or he went to you guys, he's been balling. It's insane.
Hey, listen, man. I really wish that we would have went after a corner or a number one receiver, such as like an Allen Robinson. Kyle Fuller got benched with Denver. Maybe we could have pulled him from there. But I mean, I'm liking what I'm seeing. However, obviously we have our flaws, such as Jalen Mills. Listen, man is playing horrendous. Like, it's bad. I mean, hopefully he starts to play a little better. Like, I don't know what we can do for him, but I mean, defensively wise, you know, we're back to, you know, getting our identity back, and the way that, you know, Belichick is able to scheme defensively, I feel like definitely helps us because that's definitely what won us the game against the Chargers.
It's the reason Mac Jones didn't lost the game too. Mills played CD in the dumbest coverage I ever seen. That's why y'all got hit with a walk-off.
Bro, listen, and you seen the touchdown at the end of the game on Sunday. He was in position and he's I can't jump. I can't play the ball. But I mean, I'm liking what I'm seeing. As long as we can keep on running the ball, I just wish we could have got Mac Jones, like an Allen Robinson. Maybe we could have potentially pried OBJ from the Browns or
added some type of depth.
Number one. Yeah,
and
we could have got a true number one.
Locked up. He ain't getting out no way.
Yeah, that man singing Akon. They won't let.
No. They even got LeBron screaming free OBJ, and
his dad doing the backup vocals and shit, putting up.
Hey, you know it's bad. His pops really, and I'm glad his pops said that because, like, you can see all the people are tired of hearing him get talked about. Because, like, to me, we weren't even going to talk about this yet, but just bringing it up now, I don't think he's as bad as people was making it seem. Like his first 4 years, you see what he's on pace to. Yes, he had that one injury, so it stopped it short. But he ain't no bum, bro. Like even if his production laps and you want to consider like he's some bum, then maybe he's not receiver one. Okay, whatever. He the best receiver two you can have.
Oh, definitely.
I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I swear, and I believe this so true. If he went to Green Bay, it would have been like what happened with Antonio Brown in Tampa. 100%. It would have been the exact same thing. Because you got your Devontae Adams, and Devontae Adams is better than anybody that Tampa has.
Exactly.
And so he would have been – he's already wide open as basically number one in Cleveland that we saw from that 11-minute video. Aaron Rodgers is going to use him. And as long as he stays healthy, his numbers were going to be so stupid.
Bro, to me, and then people bring up that catch that it was between the middle. Baker tried to get him killed. People know that Baker has a torn labrum. I hope you're aware that Odell has a torn labrum.
Yeah, he does too.
So if he goes up and gets the ball, Mika Fitzpatrick and Edmonds were going to crack him as soon as he got it. They both were going to hit him. So
he probably won't catch that anyway.
Yeah, people were like, I wouldn't have caught it either. You should have hit me 5 yards earlier.
You should have been hitting me for games in a row now. You've been missing me for games, wide open. Hitting people in the back of the head when I'm wide open.
Yeah.
Throwing the ball at my feet when I'm wide open. All kinds.
When you look at it, bro, to me, the only situation is different because in Minnesota you got 1A and 1A2 or whatever, because there's 2 number 1 receivers there. But Odell easily. If I was the Packers, I don't get why teams didn't throw that. I would have threw a number 2 round pick at him. Like, hey, yes, give me. I'll take him.
So so what I heard was Cleveland got offers, but they said none of the offers made sense for them. So I think they were probably low ball offers because Cleveland still has OBJ for 2 more seasons. Like when I say OBJ is locked up, he is locked up.
Well, I think they're going to release him because the cap hit he'll have next year is what they were talking about. It's because his cap hit is going to be higher.
You would like they hope they release him? Like there's no guarantee.
Yeah, there's no guarantee. I think it's just the conscious thought of his cap hit's going to be higher that they should be releasing him. But the thing to me is, if you know you're going to release him, or maybe the Browns are like, you know what, we're not getting rid of him. We're not going to release him. We getting rid of Baker. So that's the way I see it. Either they thinking they moving off Baker, and that's why they not getting rid of Odell, or they're like, okay, we're just going to release him in the summer because we don't want. And that's no benefit. So I'm really, if I had to assume
trade him in the summer, you can trade. They have 2 years on 2 more seasons, so they could trade him in the summer.
But
yeah, they definitely might move him.
To me, I'm gonna assume that either they just want to keep him and move Baker, because that's in my head. That's what's making sense. Is that they're gonna be like, you know, we're gonna double down. We're keeping Odell because there's no way. You watch the clip, even without the clip his dad sent, you still see this man getting open. Like what? Like it blows my mind to see that, but hopefully that man get freed soon. He not seeing the Akon. I'm locked up. But in other news, Nick alluded to it. Packers lose Robert Tonyan for the year, ACL. He was balling. He got a big catch for him against the Cardinals game, got him the first down and more. I saw the play where he tore his knee. It looked gruesome. He knew right away. Sad to see. I wish they would have got a replacement for him. They didn't. So maybe they're hoping Atlanta releases Hayden Hurst or something. Who knows? How you feel about that, Ant?
Yo, that was tough because like Mercedes Lewis is the other tight end there, but Mercedes Lewis has been for like at least the last 2 seasons more of a like blocker. Like you can kind of tell what Green Bay is doing in their scheme by which tight end they brought in. Like, because Tyen can't really block, but Mercedes can. So I think you're going to see Mercedes Lewis catch a bunch more balls because, like, they just don't have any options. I think the Packers will be fine. The thing about Rodgers is, like, we see this over and over and over again. It doesn't really matter who he's throwing the ball to. He makes these guys look like stars. More often than these guys are stars, he makes these guys look like stars. And, like, that's why they also got Randall Cobb. We saw him step up huge,
yeah, 2 tugs,
like, huge against the Cardinals. Lazard and Devontae, they lost both because of COVID, so like they'll come back eventually. I think the Packers won't miss a beat. Like they're gonna keep moving on. Mercedes Lewis will catch more balls. They'll keep moving on, and like Rodgers is Rodgers, man. Like that's what he does.
That's true.
Aaron Jones gets a lot of touches too, so he's a good receiver back coming out.
I'm about to say Terrance hit it on the head. What you're about to see is one. They're gonna be. It's a huge loss, but they'll be fine. 1, because you have Aaron Rodgers. 2, Aaron Jones has been used plethora of occasions in the pass game. I think now you'll see more of usage in the run game because when they will have to shift the formation to being Mercedes Lewis driven from the tight end position, they'll probably go more heavier sets. But I mean, at the end of the day, they should be fine because Aaron can, like Ant said, he throws the most catchable ball, like period. He puts it on your numbers. So that's why when you see him getting pissed off in games from drops, he kind of has every right to be, because usually if he's pissed that you dropping the balls because it's hitting you on the numbers. I mean, and also they just beat the only undefeated team in the league, missing their top 3 receivers. So it's not like I don't know. At this point, it's the most impressive thing I've ever seen. Shout out to Aaron Rodgers. I know he probably won't win MVP this year, and he just won it last year, but it's kind of crazy to see what he's able to do minus the weapons. And also, I mean, your boy too, Lamar Jackson, but
one of his greatest games that probably won't even get recognized too. And yeah, we've seen Brady do it with having less weapons, but Brady's always had somebody out there. Somebody been out there. I don't think he's had too many games. Terrance might be able to quote me on it where he's had not one person he's used to throwing the ball to.
Last year, Brady was in New England, bro. Was Jacoby Myers wide receiver 1?
Yeah.
But they wasn't winning no.
What did they do?
They wasn't winning no games. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
These dudes are on a 7-game win streak now.
Yeah, and that was 2 seasons ago. It was Super Bowl winner last year. You got to throw some respect on my man.
Last season. Okay, go ahead. You right.
All right,
I
Nick.
digress.
Nick, I'm gonna let you handle this. The Jets and they rookie hand the jungle an L. How you feel about the Bengals catching that L?
So one, we're gonna keep the praise train going for our boy Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow, because it clearly doesn't fall on them. I mean, you still put up over 30 points in the game. You know, this is something that I can't stand in football. Is it's got to be so infuriating when your offense puts up 30 plus. You put up 31 points on the New York Jets with a 8th string practice squad quarterback who gets put in there. And, you know, shout out to him throwing over 400 yards. But people
only other quarterback do that first start is Cam.
Well, this is the thing. And again, I'm not taking any credit away from him, because being able to step right in, throwing 37 for 45 and 3 tubs, he still had 2 picks and y'all lost this game. I mean, at the end of the day, Joe Burrow and that offense did everything y'all needed to do. This was kind of that collapse we were talking about that could happen, because we're saying they're playing too good, bro. Like, it's got to fall apart at some point. But, like, damn, man, like, y'all had to do something. But shout out to Mike White. Shout out to the New York Jets. You know, y'all were able to get another win on the season. I mean, that's all I really got to say.
Crazy. They didn't beat the Titans. And they beat the Bengals. Like, when they're playing good, though.
The Titans had no receivers out. Like, the Titans had their Aaron Rodgers game.
The Titans one made sense, because that was like an any given Sunday type situation. This one was just a collapse. Y'all looked like a top-tier defense against the Ravens, and then made the Jets look like an all-pro team.
Well, both their running backs went off, too.
That's because they treated that Ravens game like it was a Super Bowl, like they won a Super Bowl. Burrow
Which made sense. I mean, let's be honest, it did make sense.
Yeah, but Burrow said, he's like, it don't matter if we lose a game, every game the rest of the year. We beat the Ravens in week 7.
Yeah.
So, moving forward, going on to we ain't got to recap that too much. Going forward to the halftime segment. Nick, hit us with something on the Saints. I know you got some stuff going on.
All right, so I'm just going to keep this real easy for us. Sean Payton might be the coach of the year, okay? Because we got to face it, he lost their franchise quarterback, top 5 quarterback all time. You know, I know he was a shell of himself last season, but let's not act like losing Drew Brees isn't a big deal. You haven't been able to have Mike Thomas with all that drama going on. You made Jameis look like a completely different quarterback, and unfortunately he's out for the year. Then you put Trevor Siemian in, and you beat your rival in the division, who's kind of running things right now. But the biggest stat that I have for you is in the Brady era, the Saints are 3-1 versus the Buccaneers. So the fact that and that's including playoffs, the only loss was in the playoffs this past year.
It's because of Drew.
Yes, exactly. So they put Drew back in there and, let him go out there with, his noodle arm that he attributed from getting his entire torso destroyed. But the Saints they have the 31st ranked offense, but they also have the 2nd ranked defense. So despite the fact that, and Sean Payton's been known for having these crazy offenses, being able to flip the script and now say, okay, well, we lost a lot on offense. Let's do it with our defense, especially against a team like Tampa Bay. I mean, it's been pretty crazy to watch this year. Shout out to the Saints on their success and making that division, which we thought was probably going to be Bucs, sweeping away, a little more competitive.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie.
Brady honestly haven't thrown any interceptions for real, except to the Saints.
Yeah,
for the most part.
Nah, he ain't. He got other interceptions.
He's got a couple. but he was bad. Like he
most of his
bad.
interceptions are to the Saints against the Saints.
Besides the Patriots game, which we can chalk up to probably weather conditions, this was his first bad game on the year, and it's because of the game plan that they had for them defensively.
Well, it was weird because they didn't have AB, and Gronk went out in the game. It was strange to see he did that throw because it was there and he missed it. The safety should have picked it the first time he threw it.
Yeah,
and the safety didn't get to the ball, and they were talking about like he could have made a play on it. And then I don't get why Brady went back to him again. Like he tried it again. And I give that Saints defense a lot of credit. I think they're pretty good. They got some names that people forget about with Cam Jordan, Mario Davis, and just that secondary in general. I think that's a good defense. It has been a good defense for a while. It's just people just don't give them the recognition. What's up, Terrance?
Check out this stat. So far in his Buccaneers tenure, Brady is 0-3 against the Saints in the regular season, having thrown 6 touchdowns against 7 interceptions. By contrast, in 19 regular season games with the Bucs against teams not named New Orleans Saints, Brady has thrown 59 touchdowns against only 9 interceptions.
Boom!
Well,
the Brady killers. That's what we're calling them.
You know what it is though? It's just because Mike Evans said push Marshawn Lattimore. Every time he see Lattimore, he ain't having.
Oh yeah, it's on site. It's on site.
DK Metcalf should have never got into it with Lattimore because next time he sees Seattle, he getting put in a straitjacket for sure.
Oh yeah, it's on site.
That was so weird. Brady did not even look Mike Evans' way most of that game.
Why you think?
I don't think he was that locked. He was not that locked, bro. He was not that locked.
They be trying him.
Mike Evans.
I will say though,
Mike Evans. Get him he lived off of the 50-50 ball for years. Jameis Winston. He said, put it up there. I'm gonna get that bitch.
You want to know why? Because 30 for 30 was throwing the ball.
I was about to say, because Jameis Winston was a 50-50. He said, you like 50-50? I'll show you 50-50. This is either a touchdown or an interception.
No, but
I'm just saying, like Brady threw 2 picks.
No, look at Mike's stats though against Lattimore. I'm telling you, yeah, Brady threw 2 picks, but go back and look at his stats against Lattimore when Lattimore lines up.
And the bigger thing, and I truly believe this, piggybacking off what Keith is saying, like, as much shit as I talk about Tom Brady, we're not going to sit here and act like he's not one of the most cerebral players of all time. And I really do think that if he even feels a slight lack of confidence from somebody, he knows not to get him the ball. And if he feels that with Mike Evans, he's not going to look his way.
Confidence. That's what he's supposed to.
But you got to see it, though. He's been doing it ever since last year. When one of them receivers go drop the ball with Godwin or Evans, he goes to his safety blankets and Gronk and AB. Yeah. But the thing is, neither one of them was out there.
Yeah.
So it was like, well, shit, I got to go. You know what I'm saying?
Forcing the ball to Godwin that game. He was
That was weird. Now that was weird.
Problem. That's what I'm trying to say. Mike Evans got 4 targets to like 3 catches. And one of them was a touchdown. He was like 3 for 4.
They use Godwin
that locked.
They use Godwin in a weird way. He plays like this Anquan Bolden role for them, but he plays physical, but he's nowhere near as physical as Anquan Bolden because Anquan Bolden wasn't dropping the ball or putting the ball on the ground like that. And it's nice to use him like that because he does play physical.
He get a lot of targets,
Yeah, I would dial it back and use some other people because they're deep at receiver. If you actually,
and like we haven't even seen. And I'm not saying he's that great, but we haven't even really seen Scotty Miller this year. It's like what is injured. Like who? But what I'm saying though is like a lot of these guys at the end of the bench were like people that were kind of cooking last year, and now you've got your depth back. So I don't know what their problem is, and they also kind of got away from the run in critical moments too, which I think was a big part of the downfall.
It's a trust thing, like you were saying, Nick. Like with Bruce Arians, I feel like he don't really trust some running backs because they do be putting the ball on the ground, and I feel like against the Saints that probably could have happened. And then you look at it, just the.
I mean, I know Tom Brady's Tom Brady, but he had 3 turnovers. He had the 2 interceptions and the fumble. So it's kind of like you got at a certain point you got to know when to protect the rock. I know the running backs have a problem holding on to it, but you still got to pound it, burn some clock.
I mean, I don't. The one interception he kind of threw me, it was a little. I didn't understand it when he threw it again in that same situation back at that safety. And then safety in reality should have picked it. Like they were talking about it. They're like, why didn't you pick the ball the first time?
Oh, to Mike Evans?
Yeah, he went again. He threw the same. It had to be, if they blow it up, it had to be the same route. Like it literally had to be the same route. And he was like, oh, I'm gonna try it again. And, everybody has their bad games. It's not that big of a deal. It just puts them in a bind.
But there is a pattern now versus New Orleans. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they're a whole stout team. If you look at them around on defensively, offensively, you got to think they probably would have went to a chip last year if they played Jameis. So I was glad Jameis got the win. I wish he could have been out there the whole time, So
yeah.
What do you think the Saints do going forward? Since we can bring that up now, you think they go sign Cam or they just ride it out? They already missed the deadline, didn't trade for nobody.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
They were never going to trade for anybody.
Yeah.
No.
I think it's kind of time just to say, you almost got to rock with Trevor Siemian. Trevor Siemian's got to have a ton of confidence because he was able to play well against the Bucs. I know their defenses or their secondary is terrible, but if you can get a win against one of the Super Bowl favorites and that front seven, he's got to be feeling high. And let's face it, he gets to play the Falcons and he gets to play the Panthers, who have been kind of falling apart. So hopefully he can build some confidence. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't think the Saints are Super Bowl contenders, but they should be able to win some games, even with Siemian.
I mean, at this point, it'll help him a lot too, like you say, gain confidence because he's going to obviously Alvin Kamara's going to get the ball a lot.
Why does no one believe in Taysom Hill? Hold on. Why does no one believe in Taysom Hill?
Bro, he's not a true quarterback.
Yeah.
He was quarterback 2 on the depth chart. He was in the quarterback competition with Jameis Winston. Trevor Siemian was your third. And the only reason why Taysom Hill was not the person that went into that game is because he was in concussion protocol, which he should exit this week.
He wouldn't have started, though, but Taysom Hill is their Swiss Army knife, and that's his best role. But him as a true quarterback, we saw how that played out last
year. Yeah, he did get his shot. Don't get me wrong, because he got his shot last year. So
Sean Payton said, Drew Brees out, you gonna get your shot? He got his shot.
Brees was out for 3 games. So if he really shined, it wouldn't have been no Jameis is gonna be the starter this year. It would have been, okay, this is your team, and Jameis, we still bring him in, but he'll be the backup. You know what I'm saying?
No, because the difference
he won games though. Don't get me wrong, he did win the games during that time period.
Hey, but
he didn't shine like how they paid him. And let's be honest, they paid him to be a Swiss Army knife, not the damn quarterback. They just paid him too much damn money.
They said, look, I he got beat out by Jameis, and that makes sense to all of us. Jameis had number 1 overall pick talent, right?
And he's a true passer. Let's face it, the
30 touchdowns in the season.
Yeah.
Right. I get how he lost to Jameis Winston. That makes sense. Trevor Siemian is not Jameis Winston.
Yeah, he's not.
Y'all just skip this man.
But
not just you. Everybody is just skipping this man's entire existence in this conversation.
I'm not saying start Trevor Siemian. Terrance is saying, or Nick or roll with Trevor. I'm saying sign Cam.
But even if you find Cam, how long does it take Cam to learn the playbook, learn the offense, be able to run it?
And 2 weeks. I say 2 weeks. You let what's his face or somebody else run it for 2 weeks. If you want to make a Super Bowl, to me, if you think this team with how good that defense is playing, and you're gonna get Mike Thomas back, if you think you can seriously make some noise when it's time to get in the playoffs, then I'm signing Cam. Because if you think you can get to the playoffs and you think you can go further, Terrance saw how it was before Cam got COVID. How good he was playing New England. So if you think you can make noise in the playoffs and you just need to get these dudes back and you can add Cam and then we let Taysom Hill be a Swiss Army knife, then I'm signing Cam with no hesitation. Because they ain't even trade for nobody. That's the other thing. You gotta think if Jameis went down, I would have been we at least trade for somebody, bro.
Taysom Hill not a true quarterback, and I don't know, the games he did win last year, they were ugly as far as, the offensive wise. It didn't look good at all. And at least you know what you're getting out of Trevor Siemian, and then you can also have Taysom Hill as a playmaker on the field, I feel like.
I feel like you get more with Taysom Hill as a playmaker.
Yeah.
Especially if you bring in Cam, you get way more out of Taysom Hill as a playmaker. And that, let's be honest, they need a tight end because they ain't really got a tight end. So if you want to line them up out there, that's better than nothing. But moving on with the halftime. And run through your 10 players of the week real quick. You ain't got to hit us with no stat, just top 10. You can hit us with the top 2 stats.
I got you. So top 10 players of this week. All right. So number 1 is interesting because this is probably the only time a New York Jet will be number 1 on anybody's top 10 list. Running back Michael Carter, who put up Christian McCaffrey stat line this week. He had 15 rushes for 77 yards and a touchdown and added 9 catches for another 95 yards. That's Christian McCaffrey shit right there. So I got him as my number 1 player of the week. My number 2, all right, Tennessee Titans, A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown had 10 catches for 155 and a touchdown. And one of them touchdowns was a 53-yard catch and run. And he just burnt multiple dudes. Multiple dudes on like a relatively short pass and took it to the house. Man was really killing it. My number 3, and this one's interesting, but Elijah Mitchell from the San Francisco 49ers, really under the radar. He is the only rusher this weekend who had 100 yards on the ground. He had 137 in a TD. Nobody else had clipped 100 yards on the ground this week besides Elijah Mitchell. Granted, it happened against my Bears, and our defense played like garbage, but like, hey, I got to see it firsthand, and it hurt. So after those top 4, I'm going to get into some defensive players, and Justin Simmons, safety for the Broncos. I got him in there. He had 2 picks, 2 deflected passes, and 7 tackles against the Washington football team this week. He went nuts. Man was out here. I also got Adrian Phillips. Yeah, there you go for the Pats. He also came up with 2 picks this weekend. So, like, yeah, go ahead and talk your shit. Go ahead and talk your shit.
Right? Hey, that boy playing good too. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah,
he is playing really good.
Big game for him. The Pats defense showed up and single-handedly won that game for the most part. Michael Pittman for the Indianapolis Colts. He had 10 catches, 86 yards, and 2 tuds. So that man was really he is actually looking like a real wide receiver 1 this year over there in Indiana with Carson Wentz throwing him the ball.
You know who Michael Pittman is? Michael Pittman. It's going to throw a lot of people off. Maybe they ain't been watching Michael Pittman a lot. Michael Pittman is Mike Evans with a little bit less speed.
Yeah, I can see that.
Big reliable target.
Big reliable target. He gonna fight for the ball. He's definitely that. I don't think he's as fast as Mike Evans.
No, he's not fast at all.
But
he doesn't have to be as fast. He's big,
he don't have
physical.
to.
He's he'll go get it. He'll win one-on-ones. Yeah.
I like that. We also got the second New York Jet. I got to give Mike White. That's his name. Put some respect on Mike White's name in his first start. Destroying the Cincinnati Bengals for 405 yards, 3 tuds. There were 2 interceptions there, but he also got the W. And again, look, he was out there. He look.
The biggest guy of the day.
This should not happen. All right. Like, that's wild. That's wild. Like, he's been in the league for 3 years and had played in no games. He didn't touch the field ever until last week. And then he had his first start 2 weeks ago. He didn't touch the field until 2 weeks ago, had his first start last week. Now, outside of that, my last 3, and this is where like there's a lot of guys who can really be in this area, but I gave one to Josh Norman, DB for the 49ers, also showed up. He had a pick, a pass deflection, 7 tackles, and 1 forced fumble against the Bears. Again, we was really out here just get home 2 weeks in a row. But Justin played a good game. I gave Matt Stafford a nod here at 9, even though like they played the Texans, so like it's kind of hard not to. But he had 305, 3 tuds. That was a big game for him. And of course, he got that through to Cooper Kupp, who had 7 catches for 115.
Man, listen,
a touchdown. He is nuts. He has to be up there somewhere. He is nuts. 7 catches.
Their chemistry is so stupid for being their first year together. That one clip that went viral on Twitter where the ball was already in the air before Coop even started making his first
before
move
he breaks,
before the break.
Bro, he just released the ball.
It was already in the air at the shake, and then he breaks, and the ball's in his hands. That was nuts.
Think about how much better Cooper Kupp made Jared Goff look.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie to you. This is why I be telling people to play the damn ball. Because if the corner was playing the ball, guess what would happen? Just saying.
His eyes were in the backfield, but I'm not gonna lie. I don't know if he could have stopped that play.
Yeah, it was. I'm
gonna be straight up.
It was a
smooth play.
It was smooth.
It wouldn't have been as bad, but he had sneaky eyes. He was looking in the backfield, but he got. I mean, that was such a perfectly thrown ball, perfectly timed route. I think he was getting cooked either way.
Yeah, for sure. Matt Stafford, that was a great throw. I saw it. I watched it a couple of times. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I was like, it was beautiful to watch. That's
and
beautiful
how
football.
big shout out to Cooper Kupp how he ran the route. Honestly, that was kind of clean. So that's your concludes your top 10, right, Ian?
Yeah, that's my top 10. I got an honorable mention from Myles Garrett. He only had 30 pass rush snaps, and he had a sack, a QB hit, 2 hurries in 30 snaps rushing. So that's pretty big. So and I got him as an honorable mention down there. He had a really high pass rush grade from Pro Football Focus this week, but like obviously the hit stats were not as
significant as typical. Yep.
Yeah, for sure. So moving on to 4th and 5, we already Ant just alluded to. We talked about it earlier, but the Browns continue to lose. What is going on in this world? I will also bring up something that I saw on ESPN earlier. I sent it to the guys. It actually shifts blame from Baker and Odell to Kevin Stefanski's effect on his receivers. Remember how Diggs and Thielen had the problem with Kirk Cousins in Minnesota? Well, Kevin Stefanski was the offensive coordinator. And if you look at the graphic that ESPN provided, their percentage of their targets had dropped with Stefanski. Without, they were at, getting 7-6 targets, but their numbers dropped. In this system with Odell, he's getting 4 targets with Stefanski as the offensive coordinator, head coach. And then, or season prior to Stefanski being the coach, he's getting 4.6, right? With Stefanski, he's in 3.1 targets. Like, what?
Bro, that's insane. There's no way you got Odell on your team and you get 3 targets again.
And you got to remember, Odell, even getting that 4.6, that first year in Cleveland, put up 1,000. People forget that. Put up 1,000 yards receiving.
What?
You didn't know that?
I remember the game he had against the Steelers when he broke like a 90-something yarder.
Yeah,
because people forget because it was in spurts. There's like he only had like a couple good games, but those games were like huge games. Like he was going off.
Yeah, it's just crazy. People forget it. Yeah, he put up. I had to fact check myself because Ant looked at me crazy. It's 74 receptions, 1,035 yards, 14 yards. He averaged 14 yards for the average throw. 89 was his long, and he had 4 touchdowns.
Was that the year Kevin Stefanski got there, or the year before he?
I think it was the year before because that's when they had that.
That's actually funny too.
They had that one coach, the big
Freddie
white
Kitchens.
dude. Yeah, Freddie Kitchens.
Yo, that's wild. How did Freddie Kitchens scheme OBJ better than Kevin Stefanski? That's crazy.
So I'm gonna say this.
Disgusting.
Go ahead, Nick. What you got?
I don't want to sound like the biggest Baker Mayfield hater in the world because yes, I mean obviously there is a recurring theme here. The schemes are also not helping OBJ's numbers. I think we're all in agreement here. It's clearly not OBJ's fault, and I hate to be that guy, but after that clip was posted of all those things, I don't think Kevin Stefanski is going to be like, all right, Baker, get your ass on the bench because you're not sticking to my scheme when you have OBJ flying wide open. This is a premier, or was at a certain point, a premier target in the league.
He still can be, honestly.
And I told y'all what I thought. If he was in Green Bay, he would have an Antonio Brown type season. But it's mind-boggling to me. Yes, I know scheme is a lot of it, but if I was to put the blame, I'd be like 75% Baker, 25% Kevin Stefanski.
Oh, if I'm picking blame, I'm going 50% or 50 Stefanski. I'll go 40 Baker and 10 Odell.
Yeah, he dropped the ball a couple times.
Yeah, he got a couple.
2 on the season. He's got 2 drops on the season.
But no, I bring it up, Terrance, and you know it a lot. If you're in a slump, right, and you're trying to get out of it, he's just anticipating catching the ball and then just going. So he's not locking in on the catch. And that's why I feel like he's dropping the ball. Because that one where Derwin James is guarding him on the 4th and 1 or 4th and whatever.
I think his routes ain't been as clean either. So I mean,
I think when he cut that route, he was expecting to just beat Derwin and just go. Because if you look, the linebacker was on the tight end. I think he saw like, oh, I'm about to cut loose.
Yeah.
So that's how I put the blame because Stefanski can't be doing that. You got Odell, you got Jarvis, and really, it ain't even Odell or Baker's fault why he lost that game. It's really Jarvis. Jarvis had like 6 drops, something ridiculous. Like he had a lot of drops, but you gotta think he's coming back from the injury. But he has some big time drops for somebody who don't drop the ball for them.
Yeah, that's big. That's
so like big. I don't know what you do to fix this. Kareem Hunt's out for them, and the division is looking tough this year. Steelers are coming back alive. Like, what do you do?
They got to play through it. Like, honestly, I was surprised they let Baker come back so quickly after Case Keenum kind of held his own. Like, can you tell me after watching that game against Pittsburgh that it would have been all that much worse if Case Keenum was a starting quarterback? Like, Baker had like 2-something yards, no TDs, right?
Hey, to me, if you think about it, if I'm the Browns, I really look at getting a quarterback. Because if I didn't trade Odell, there's a reason I didn't trade Odell. Because I was gonna some team, yeah, and
or they wanted to keep him through this season and then trade him in off season.
But they ain't winning no games, or they haven't been winning as much games as they should. Because remember, next week we're gonna redo the Super Bowl picks, and I had them going against the Pats, and you can bet, or the Packers. You can bet next week I'm changing. They ain't gonna be there because I don't think I keep riding that wave.
I have them too.
Remember, we said about midweek, and then playoff time we was gonna switch the route. I'm probably switching them out because they can't just be doing that to me.
Crazy, because on paper they got a great team.
If you think about it, to me, if I'm the Browns, I would try to put up a package to get Watson. He didn't get traded. I'm gonna throw everything at Houston to get Watson.
I'm also gonna say this. I know we keep talking about the OBJ drama, but like we also got to acknowledge the fact that the defense has severely underperformed. Like,
yeah.
But I think people didn't know how good that defense was going to be because they're putting in so many new pieces. Like they knew they were going to be good. Don't get me wrong. You're right. They're definitely underperforming. But I think it was like maybe you should be middle of the pack or like, barely outside of 10 and not playing as talent. Huh?
Keith, I gotta say, I don't think anybody had them outside the top 10 before the season started. Maybe not top 5, but
no, but I said like
6 and 10,
barely outside, like 11. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just trying to find an excuse for them to.
I think you're trying to hold on to your pick.
I guess.
I was wrong. I'm gonna admit it now. I was wrong.
I think everybody was. I think everybody expected, at least, AFC Championship type season. I mean, now we're talking about they might not make the playoffs.
Crazy, insane.
Yeah, they might be back to being the Browns of the AFC and 4th in the division.
Bro, what if
one of the best rosters in the league? Though.
What do you do next year if that happens? You just blow up the team and like, no, we're not doing this again.
I don't think you blow up the team, but you got to try to make some significant changes because if you end up last in the division and you got to figure out whether or not you're going to pay Baker Mayfield.
Imagine, think about this. Who would have told you from the beginning of the season you're going to end up last at the midway point? The Ravens are going to be out. We have 16 people on the injured list. Big Ben is going to be wishy-washy. And the Bengals are going to be lights out damn near. And you are somehow going to be the one in last place.
Like, and talk about the team that's top heavy. The Bengals are kind of like heavy. The Rams. Yeah, they're kind of like the Rams. The reason they're winning is because their stars are balling out of control. Yeah. And we saw the reason they just lost to the Jets is because their depth on defense got so exposed. So it's like if a team like the Jets can really show out like that, and that was showing out for the Jets.
Field day.
And the Browns can't handle a division like that. That's bad. That's very bad.
So I don't know what they expect for them, but it's going to be crazy to think because you got to think everything's going to change next year. Bengals might get additions. The Ravens are going to hopefully be healthy. Who knows what the Steelers do at quarterback is. And they got TJ Watt back healthy. You see what TJ Watt does for that whole defense when he's back there. So it's crazy when you think about it. I got another big thing that happened. We had Aaron Rodgers, Mr. Shiesty Rodgers, Mr. John Wick.
Bitch, I got my own file. Don't need security
in the club, bro. Oh my God.
That shit was fire.
It was.
Hey, I don't comfortable.
You look way too comfortable doing that shit. That was the thing. Like
dumping that.
Mr. State Farm look way too comfortable with the glizzy on, just like.
Hey, I'll let you know. Aaron Rodgers definitely probably be listening to Pooh Shiesty. The way
he was on with the
gunshots. All the new rookies came in and he was like walked in the locker room one day. He was like, hold up, who is this? And he's been bumping it ever since.
He took that loss in that NFC Championship game. He said, "Yeah, I'm about to get it back in blood." Like, imagine this man.
I wanted them to get OBJ. The 30 for 30 on this season would be so stupid, bro. Oh my God.
I really wanted them. I'm gonna be honest. I wanted them to get Odell, right, and move off Jordan Love and extend Rodgers.
Yes.
Like, go, hey, you know
I
what?
want them to win the Super Bowl because I don't want him to leave.
Yeah, like, you know what? This Jordan Love shit is not working. We're gonna send you somewhere that needs a quarterback, and we're gonna double down and be like, you know what, Rodgers, you're our dude. We're sorry. We're gonna try to get rid of this GM by committee, but we can't. But we know you love your coaches, the players, like, and you know he has a good connection with LaFleur. Like, they seem to be like great on the sidelines. But yeah, Mr. Shiesty Rodgers, Pooh Shiesty, just I don't know. He was dressed as John Wick too, bro. Like, he had the fire and the party and everything. Like, what? I was kind of shocked by that. I was like, damn. It was almost as bad as shout out to Tom Brady when he did the Chief Keef. I know you was
that shit was gangster too, bro.
I hated that shit, bro. People were texting me, be like, yo, you see this shit, bro? They're like, yo, I heard Brady on O Block right now. I'm like, yeah, my mentions, bro. I ain't trying to hear none of this. Nah.
He started that video so subtle. He was like, Mikey had 3 tubbies. We got the dub, and then bro dropped the Chief Keef in the background, and Chief Keef added him on Twitter. It was like, whoa,
that's hard. How do you not? How do you not?
Bro, that shit's so disrespectful. I get Brady.
Well, we lost by like 30, bro. So like, what we gonna say, bro?
It's so funny to me though when he does that after every win. He like puts a little video out there, but it was just funny that whoever is on his team that was like, no, bro, put the Chief Keef video on the end of this. That's crazy how you put that together. Do you think we're talking about, you know, Shiesty Rodgers, that big Thursday night game, probably the best Thursday night game slotted for the rest of the year? What happened with AJ Green? We about to end this soon. What was AJ Green thinking?
Hold on. Before we even get into that, I just want to know. I think somebody on this podcast called that upset happening. I can't remember. Somebody had it picked out that someone's streak was going to get. I just had to flex that really quick. But anyway, continue.
One play.
Yeah, I mean, Nick was
AJ
right.
Green brain fart away. Like,
hey, the controller got unplugged. The controller died.
Bro, I try to think of every excuse for this man. Because then the other thing was, I was like, okay, well, if you saw the defender was about to go for the ball, and granted, he didn't even know where the ball was, but if you've seen this dude look like he was making a football move for the football, you should have hit him or something. Like,
first of all, how you run a route and don't even look for the ball at all?
He ain't run no route. He ran
he blocked. At the end of the day, he must pre-snap whatever he thought. I don't know what he thought, but at the end of the day, he must have. The only thought he had was, "Man, I'm not getting this fucking ball." That's the only thing that makes sense. Like, he was like pre-snap. He was like, "Man, fuck this. I'm not about to get this ball." And when he threw it, he was probably like, "Oh my God." So I don't know.
He was lost.
He oh my God, until he got picked because he ain't know what happened.
He didn't know what was going on. He literally thought.
I ain't gonna lie.
He didn't even know he got an interception until he was celebrating. He's like, oh.
I'm so glad there's Thursdays where I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna stay up. And that was a Thursday. I was like, watch the game. I'm like, I'm gonna keep watching this. Like, it was definitely crazy. Terrance, hit us with some stats on one of the best head coaches. You don't get no recognition, Mike Tomlin. And no, he ain't taking the USC job. Shut up with that. Stop disrespecting my man.
So this man, Mike Tomlin, is one of only 8 coaches in league history to win a Super Bowl within his first 2 seasons as an NFL head coach. He's the only head coach in Steelers history to lead the team to 2 Super Bowls in his first 4 seasons at the helm, including, you know, an appearance against the Green Bay Packers. So in this man's tenure was 14 years at this point, been the head coach since 2007. This man hasn't had a losing season. Like, that's insane. Since 2007 to not have one losing season. That is
scary.
Insane.
Big kudos to Mike Tomlin, bro. Like, that's crazy, bro.
I'm tired. Remember this. His 8-8 season, the quarterbacks were Duck Hodges and Mason Rudolph.
Yeah.
8-8. That you gotta remember the like 500 season we talking about for never losing. That season,
that's 90% of coaches. That's 90% of coaches 2-14 seasons.
Yes, like remember that with the same O-line that we was killing for like that next year afterwards. He went 8-8 with Duck Hodges and Mason Rudolph.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. If I had to pick like a coach to play for, he would just definitely be at the top of the list.
Oh, 100%. What was it? Did he say to Myles Garrett? Was it Myles Garrett the one he said he's like, I don't want to ever have to draft someone like you. He's like, you're too young. Yeah.
No, he said
I don't ever want to be bad enough to be able to draft
someone like you. Yeah.
That's so crazy. He said that so serious too. Like I don't.
That was dope.
All right, I got a question for y'all before we get ready to get out of here. Who would you rather have? Both players are gonna be in their prime. You gonna take TJ Watt or JJ Watt? Who you got over there, Ant?
Both of their prime, I would say you got to take JJ because when JJ was in his prime, JJ was like far and away one of the best players that we had ever seen at that position in history. TJ Watt's that guy, and I feel like TJ Watt has been screwed out of a defensive player of the year or two already. Yes, I'm gonna say it. Yes, I'm gonna say it.
I know he didn't say that.
Yes,
Oh yeah, say that shit. What?
What? What? He should have won Defensive Player of the Year last year.
I mean,
yes.
It was a Mickey Mouse season for them.
Hell no. I'm gonna tell you, hell no.
It was a Mickey Mouse season for them.
I don't know if you
trying to hear none of that shit. The numbers. My man had the numbers.
Look at Aaron Donald's numbers.
I did. My man had the numbers to win Defensive Player of the Year that year. 100%. Oh, look, I'm gonna get them TJ Watt numbers for you right now because you ain't about to hold TJ Watt.
Who you taking, Nick?
So, quick question: you think they would have won more games with a prime JJ?
Now we're off topic. Who are we talking about here?
You taking JJ or prime TJ? Who you taking, Nick?
I'm taking JJ because because the difference is obviously I think we can all agree TJ's probably the better pass rusher, but it's not by much. But JJ would blow up your whole play, your whole backfield. Like before Aaron Donald, there was JJ Watt, and now the difference between Aaron Donald and JJ Watt is Aaron Donald doesn't get hurt as much, and JJ's prime was a lot shorter. But if we're talking about in their prime at their best, JJ Watt's like one of the best defenders I've ever seen in my life.
Terrance, what you got?
Gotta put Luke Kuechly in there too, man.
We ain't talking about Luke Kuechly, bro.
I know, but it was just on my mind because I was like, that man would literally tell you what you're doing before the play. You change the play. Oh, he finna do this now.
That man been
living. Go here because the play coming.
You've been living in Carolina too much. Who you taking? Yeah,
man's insane. He was insane. But I'm taking JJ Watt. If you put a prime JJ Watt on that Steelers team, he might have carried the distance.
Okay, it's the 2019 season. He was screwed out of Defensive Player of the Year in 2019. He had 2 interceptions, 8 forced fumbles, 4 fumble recoveries, and 14 and a half sacks. Not to mention he had 15 sacks in 2020, but I'm just saying, like, he had 14 and a half sacks, 8 forced fumbles, 4 fumble recoveries, and 2 interceptions, and did not win Defensive Player of the Year. Do not play. Y'all, like, they hold TJ Watt in 2019.
So, Aaron Donald won, right?
I want to say,
yeah, Aaron Donald got it. It was his second or straight one he got.
Mm-hmm.
So he got it easy. I'm going Donald, bro. Do you see what they be doing to Donald? Oh, I forgot to bring this up. Jalen Smith got released from the Packers.
Bro, like in and out, bro.
Yeah.
Jalen Smith said,
Put
the hat back down.
Literally some in and out burger stuff. I don't know what was going on. It's crazy though, but that's this week's episode, guys. It's crazy. So thank you for tuning in, checking in with the guys, locking in with us. If you want to find us, you can find us over on Twitter at cover4_with the guys. We're pretty active on Twitter, super active actually. You catch Terrance on there, Nick be on there talking about the Falcons. You know, we got the bet going. I'm gonna get my $20. You can find Ant on the Fly Route podcast. He is extremely active over there. Anyway, mind your business. You can find him at the Fly Route podcast on Twitter. Ant will be here with us again next week. We'll keep bringing great stuff to you. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you have a good night, good rest of your day. Later.
And